Good day, fellow worker, and welcome to another laborious hour. You might be waking up, you might be going to sleep, but everywhere, someone is working. Reporting from Liberty, Tennessee, we're about to hear from Roy in the green shirt, see from James with the camera on his chest, and watch Edgar at the controls. In the next hour, we'll learn what a sawmill is, hear Roy's biggest mistake and greatest success, and see Edgar and James work without words to process cut after cut after cut after cut.
I'm feeling pretty good this morning.
Okay. She's not doing a lot. I'm scared of moving almost.
Yeah.
But
All right. Thank you so much. See you in a little bit.
hi, my name is Roy Haney, and you're at Haney Family Sawmill, Liberty, Tennessee. Now that's Middle Tennessee, basically halfway between Lebanon and Smithville.
What is a sawmill?
Well, a sawmill, that's an interesting question. A sawmill saws logs, makes lumber. But it also makes your dreams come true. It helps your forestry to be able to manage your farm and be able to utilize trees as growing. So our job is to cut trees into lumber. So when you bring the log to me, I will cut it to help you make your dream come true. Edgar right now is cutting poplar, going to fencing, 1x8 fencing, 2x6 to build that barn, the side, the 2x6s for rafters and such. Right behind it, if you see on the video, if it shows, there's white oak, a man's trailer bed for his trailer. White oak is a very durable wood. It's fairly weather resistant, and that flexibility is strong. It doesn't break out. Okay, James Bandy. Now he's the man in the back. Probably got some sweat going. He is what's called the tail boss. Now, since they're just the two of them working today, the tail boss is the working boss too. And that's why you'll see Edgar go up front and help James pull wood, flip wood, and things of this nature, of course. But James is there. His job is just as important as Edgar's. James is watching for bark to fall off to get caught in the track. James is pulling the slabs, putting them in the slab bin, pulling the boards, pulling the secondary boards that didn't meet the size or thickness or whatnot to the job that we're selling for, and they're going elsewhere. So James's job is very important. It is an active job, but that is what he does. Now, Edgar is a young man. He has always had a knack of learning. When Edgar and I met, I was doing split rail fencing. I needed help. And Edgar started helping, and he's learned everything on that sawmill. He's my head sawyer now. Now, as you see Edgar running, you're going to see him working a lot of levers and running a computer. The top of the box that he's in front of, that is a computer. And that is going to tell the sawmill, he's going to push buttons and program it to drop the blade. You see the head coming back and forth. That is the saw head. That is a band saw that's 185 inch and a half wide band, just like a band saw. It is a band saw, laying horizontal though. And he is going to program, he brings that head across, cutting the log. You listen to your saw and you'll hear your motor. You'll hear your motor bog down because you didn't realize there's something going on inside that tree, which can be even as far as that tree's been hit by lightning and the grain is turned on it and it will catch a saw blade. Or a circular blade, it'll throw the log saw right through the log. Bandsaws will saw lightning strike better. I'll get into a story on that in a little bit. But you always listen. You hear your motor lugging down, you're going to slow down to let the optimum power to the motor. You hear a vibration happening. It could be the log's not held down tight enough. It could be a log is wind shook. And a wind shook log means it could bust apart like a bomb and start throwing shrapnel everywhere. So you're always listening to it. But it's not a specific sound. It's the sound that you're associated that this is running good to something being wrong. Virtually, and I won't say all, but virtually all our lumber that we produce here, all the logs that comes in for the lumber, comes here from less than 30 miles away. We will have up to 50, but virtually everything we have is local.
Do you have a rough estimate of how many trees you could go through in a year?
No, I don't. That's something I've never asked. If and the reason being, a mature poplar tree, let's say something at the base is about 36 inches, 40 inches across at the base. That tree will have 1,000 feet in it. You take a poplar, what we call a pillar, that is about 12, 14 inches at the base, it'll have 300 feet in it. On our mill, we have probably sawed more than 5 to 8 million feet of lumber in our career, if not more.
Any major new pieces of equipment on your horizon?
As long as what I have is running, it's fine. But no matter what you have to understand it has a life. And skid steers wear out, tractors wear out, and that. Good Lord willing, we'll keep just what we have right now going. I mean, we're settled pretty good. Yes. I've been trying for the last 5 years to get a dry kill operation up, and I'm still trying. So a dry kill would be something I would really like to have.
How do customers find you?
We are on the internet. Haney Family Sawmill, you can Google and find. But when you have a resource and you're working, you tend to share it with your friends. And over the last 30 years, we've been shared a lot. And that is basically word of mouth is mostly how we're found. We don't have a big sign. In fact, our old house is 100 years old, and our whole operation sits right behind the house. Our normal sale is under 1,000 feet, believe it or not, and that is something that we deal with the public. We're one of the few places, and okay, I'm going to brag a little bit. We sat down, we decided that we would try to be a resource better than a hindrance. So if you want to come here, good Lord willing, I will do my best. I will sit down and we will work out your dream, what you want to build. If you want to build a house or you want to build a barn, I'll sit down and I'll help you build that materials list. I'll even show you how to do it.
What's the difference between wood and lumber?
Well, virtually nothing. Wood is lumber. Basically, the difference between a pencil and a pencil that's been sharpened. Lumber, I have sized it to your job. Wood is sitting there waiting for your dream to be realized. The 2x4 that comes, the typical 2x4 coming from a box store, is coming out of a log less than 9 inches. Grade wise, for the standard grading of our mill, that would be except for like a poplar, it'd be less than a number 2 grade. The normal grade that you're getting from a box store for me is a number 3 grade or cull. Now, cull lumber is what we sell for pallets to be able to put stuff on. The typical lumber that you get from my sawmill is a number 2, number 1, or prime, meaning that structurally what you buy from our mill is typically 3 grades higher than anything that you'll buy at a box store. But the box store has that little ink stamp stamped on it, and that's what a lot of the codes are looking for. the most valuable asset you have on your sawmill operation, on your carpentry operation, on whatever you're doing, is the people that's with you and working around you. They are the essence of what is the most valuable piece of equipment. in your business, whether it be a sawmill or whatever you do, take time and talk to people, because you don't know what they've been through. You don't know where they've been. And it might be just the little acorn that they grab onto and they grow to a mighty oak tree. One of the most important questions that I want you to look across the table to whoever your partner is, whether it's an old bloodhound or whatever, or a wonderful wife, and understand sustainability of your woods, of your farm, of your homestead is the make or break of your grandchildren. Not only you, I mean, it's everything for you, but sustainability means that you will have a resource that actually can grow, can become more valuable monetarily also. And you notice that I put a difference between valuable and valuable monetarily. Those are two different things. Out of 10 sawmills that sell today, 10 brand new sawmills sell today, 8 of them within 2 months or 3 months will be sitting in a barn or a garage or a carport or under a tarp and not be touched, but maybe every 6 months. 8 of them. 2 of them will be used. 1 of them will be built into a part of a business where it's supplementing something else. Maybe a home builder, when he goes in to build homes, he cuts down trees, he takes those trees on the weekend, he makes lumber, and they're utilized. The other one will make and run. That person that is very impulsive probably should not have a sawmill. That person that can get down in the row and keep in that row and hoe and plow, that can have a sawmill operation. When I bought my sawmill, the first thing that happened, there was tears in my eyes, as on one Saturday I lit a match and burnt about 3 semi-truckloads of lumber. Oh, I saw it. I got down there, I worked, I was tough, rough, and all. It was a long time ago. I had a little more energy. I didn't have a place for the lumber. I didn't sticker the lumber. I didn't take care of that lumber. And these are all the little shorts and all that I brought out there. Real pretty. I'll get to use them. And I ended up having a stack before they got a bunch of snakes under it and whatnot. I burnt 3 trailer truck loads of lumber. what you have laying down, how much garbage that you didn't pick up. Those are the dangers. In fact, one of the most dangerous thing that we've had happen on the sawmill is when that block of wood falls down after 2 o'clock in the afternoon and somebody trips over it. Normally it's a skint knee. A band mill is actually one of the most safe operations that you can have. You're standing away from it, and thank the Lord, it's been, close to 30 years and we've never had a major injury.
When did you first feel comfortable working the mill?
So that is the question of worth. That first sawmill, after I had been running about 3 years, it was enough lumber under my belt that I had run into a lot of the problems that we have. I mean, sometime if you ever see my wife, ask her about what happens when a snake comes out of a log. Ask her about frogs and bibbed overalls. There's always something new going to happen.
It took about 3 years to feel.
About 3 years, but about 3 years to be proficient, about 10 years to be a settled resource, and about 20 years to be a resource for the community. Mistakes have made the world. So don't be afraid to make a mistake, but don't make a mistake on purpose. Don't be afraid to have made a mistake. Understand that that's made you stronger. And the stronger you are, don't be afraid to share that wisdom so someone around you doesn't have to make the mistake you made. They can use your knowledge and go make a bigger mistake and learn and grow from it, and we just keep building. If you think about puppies, I've got a brand new 10-week-old Burmese mountain dog puppy that's keeping my wife company. Its whole life for the next 6 months is going to be making mistakes. When it makes a mistake and does something that we want it to do, we will reward it, we'll cuddle it, we'll make it so proud that it'll be happy to make that mistake for the rest of its life because it knows that it makes its people happy. Don't you be any different.
What piece of advice would you have given yourself on the first day you brought home your first sawmill?
You don't need to saw in a snowstorm. I brought home my sawmill. I tried to get my wife to come outside. It was 8 o'clock at night. It was in December. It was cold. It was spitting snow. And I rolled up a piece of firewood that I had not cut to length, and I sawed lumber under a street light because I had a sawmill.
the best part of the job?
You know, that is actually a funny question. 20 years ago, I would say just being able to be done. You're tired, but you look back and you see this stack of lumber that you did. Or you see that building having been built that you sawed the lumber. The bridge at Cannonsburg, Murfreesboro, their bridge, I saw that thousands of people have walked across. But now, I have found out that the greatest pleasure of my job is actually not me. It's actually you. If I see you, or if someone can see you achieve, that is the best part of the job. Sometimes you'll be putting up with people you really don't want to put up with, and you have a right to tell them to go. But it's kind of neat when you see that less desirable person on the mill, because you don't know what they've been through. And when they get all done, and all of a sudden they have what they need, and their attitude changes. And it's a pleasure. That's what I want to say. I want to see you get ahead. And that may sound like I'm being condescending and all that. It's not. If you get ahead, you'll pay me a little bit more for my lumber, just because when you come here, we work together to take care of you. And by doing that, I will have you come back and come back and come back again. So that's why I'm going to take the time to try to help. if you're not a part of the community, you're a leech, not an asset. The old grist mills. When the poor people would come to a grist mill and get their corn ground, you got corn ground on 50-50. You bring in a 2 bushel of corn and you got a bushel of cornmeal back. Well, when that old lady had 9 kids and she just barely has 2 bushel, it's funny on how that 50-50 worked out, and that her cut happened to be about most of that 2 bushel, where that well-to-do man comes back and, I can't bother with getting that much, and only picks up a bushel when he brought in 10 bushel of corn, and he happens only picks up a bushel of cornmeal because he knows that miller is going to distribute it where it needs to be, because there's a need in the community, and that would come. Right now, the mayor of Liberty has been told many times, and this has happened, that if someone in the community in the wintertime is hurting and they need firewood, whatnot, firewood will appear right smack dab on the porch, because we have to be together and we have to take care of each other. And our little thing on the sawmill, that's the easiest thing we can do. The biggest mistake that I ever made is getting too busy and taking care of everyone else, and that's the best thing that I do, instead of building my infrastructure, my buildings, my drying sheds, and the things of this nature. Would have been so much better. I could help more people had I took care of me more than take care and let the business run itself. The business at times has got too busy to be that little asset. Where you own the sawmill, why don't you have every building in the world? A mechanic never has a car that will run because he's always fixing everybody else's automobile. A sawmill is the same way. If you think about the little Dutch boy who put his finger in the dike, he was in a place at a time with problems happening, and he used the tools that he had, the only tool, his finger, and he saved the community. Your handicap very possibly could be the greatest asset that your family, your community, your country could ever need.
Thank you. Any closing thoughts or pieces of wisdom for the people out there?
Just don't be afraid to do it. Build your dream. Look around. There's somebody there that's going to help you build that dream if you need. Be careful of the ones that tell you you can't. Because all my life I've run into people telling me I can't, as I did. And those are the people you don't want to be around. Be around the people that believe in you, that tell you you can, because you can. You all take care, be safe, and may the Lord bless you.
Thank you so much. It's been marvelous.